Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, Chapter 108. We last left our heroes. The gang arrived at Red Cave, supposedly a fire planet, but as we know, actually a water planet. They spent a lot of time having some R&R time, a lot of, beach fun, until an escape pod or something came crashing down to the surface. The crew went to investigate and found a long-dead skeleton. And then they discovered an underwater city with an engraving of Mother on, a temple. And that's where we left off going into this chapter. So here we have a color page of Shiki, Rebecca, Happy, and Pino, all in their swimwear, kind of having some more fun. I'm guessing this is still Red Cave. Chapter 108, Nadia, Love of My Life. And so we open where we left off, with the gang seeing the city underwater. A city under the sea? A relief that looks like Mother. Just difficult to make out from this distance. And so Pino, very helpful. Opening magnification screen. And Shiki says, oh! And then she gets the close-up of the engraving. And Rebecca looks at it. Now that you mention it, maybe it does look like the Mother hologram back at the guild. And Shiki turns to the group. Anyway, let's check it out. We might get to meet some sea people. And Wise stops him. Yeah, I'd rather avoid the sea people. And Pino turns back to the escape pod. What about the fallen ship and the person inside? Perhaps we had best give him a proper burial. But Wise stops them. Forget it. We have no idea who he is. If we find he's some super bad guy, it'll give me nightmares. But we can't just leave him here. And Wise kind of pokes at Shiki. What? You want to be friends with dead guys now? Just forget about him. Let's focus on that temple, don't you think? Yeah, let's go. But Rebecca turns back and looks at something in the ship. And she sees Nadia, Love of My Life, the chapter title, engraved in the ship's console. But then the gang goes to explore the city. We see the ruined buildings, the fishes everywhere. I compared it to Elmina last week in Fairy Tale, but Elmina is very much still a thriving city, even when it's underwater. And this is very much not the case. It's very dilapidated, very destroyed. And then Homer notices something. What? And we see all around the city, in the streets, leaning against buildings, are destroyed robots. All over the place. There are robots passed out everywhere. They all appear to have shut down. It's just like at this is Rebecca, and then she stops herself and looks at Shiki. And Shiki's just kind of, if he's feeling anything at all in regards to Granbell, he's keeping it tight. I wonder what happened. And he looks at them, and then he sees the fallen bots of Granbell. But he kind of puts it out of his mind. Let's go to the temple. Pino goes to approach one of the bots, and just then a tentacle pops up behind her. Please don't do what I think you're about to do, Mashima. Don't make some fucking tentacle shit. It's more of an octopus tentacle than a hentai tentacle, so hopefully we're good there. But Pino kind of freaks out. And it looms over the group. What is that? Eek! And Shiki, sea people! And Wise stops him. It's an octopus tentacle, you dolt! And the tentacle grabs Pino. Aye, Pino! And then a whole bunch more tentacles pop up and start slamming things. And it's this giant monster thing. Got a kind of a circular head. It seems to have hair even. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't really look like an octopus head. It looks a little smooth for an octopus head. But either way, Homer readies her blade. 'Tis enormous. Gross. I imagine Rebecca is flashing back to all of her tentacle-based trauma over the years. And Pino calls down, Master! And Shiki gets ready. Magimek attack. Dwa! And he tries to go for a gravity attack, uh, but because of like the water and making it weird, I think. Shiki, what's up? My gravity's not working too good. And Wise asks him because of the buoyancy. Buoyancy. This is Rebecca, and then Happy chimes in. The force that makes objects float in water. Maybe it makes gravity wonky when mixed together. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm under the ocean. And Rebecca calls out to him, "It's okay, Shiki, just calm down." And then a tentacle grabs Rebecca. I just want one arc without. Okay, there are arcs without tentacle things, but like, come on. And yet, Rebecca has been grabbed, along with Happy. No! Wah! And Wise, horned dog that he is, yes, that's what I expect to see. But Homer readies her blade. Rebecca! And then Wise and Rebecca get caught. Wise is not very happy about that. What? And Homer's ether gear poofs out. Ack! This creature is swifter than it appears. Its grip is tightening, detecting abnormal pressure on my armor. Ow, 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 ow. Fee, I cannot use my ether gear. Interestingly, despite, the obvious kind of temptation, given what series this isn't really sexualized in the slightest. Which is good. It's a good step. But all 5 of them are being brought to the creature's mouth. And Happy freaks out. It's going to eat us? And Rebecca, I love eating, but I don't like getting eaten. And Wise, creep that he is, hey, save the kinky moves for Rebecca. And Homer just keeps on struggling against the tentacle. Master! And just then, Shiki pops up out of the water. His gravity is throwing him out there. And then he's like in the air. And he's kind of floating, So there's some weirdo force that messes with my gravity underwater. That's too smart for me. I guess I just need more weight. What a king. What a king. I'm too stupid to work this out, so I'm just gonna ignore it. I'll make myself heavy. And then he slams back underwater. Magimech attack. Gravity center. And he crushes the octopus thing. Everyone is freed from the tentacles. Nice work, Shiki. We are free. Whoa. And then Shiki kind of, goes sliding across the ocean floor, but he picks himself back up. The octopus monster, glares at him. It's still alive? Wah! Run to the temple! And so the gang just hightails it out of there, being chased by the fucking monster. And then we see a panel of the monster chasing them, and then we just see a panel of the temple. I'm not sure if this is a sometime later kind of thing. Yeah, it looks like it. Because now they're in the temple. They're seemingly dry now. Because we see them, and we see water on the ground that they've brought in, but it looks like only part of the ground has water on it, which is interesting. Because it looked to me like the temple was submerged. Anyway, the gang kind of, collects themselves. Ooh, looks like it's not going to follow us in here anyway. Homer turns to them. I've never seen such an octopus. But Happy kind of counters, I'm not so sure it even was an octopus. Anyway, and Rebecca stands up and looks around. This temple looks ancient. But Shiki kind of freezes. Like he's, recognizing something. And Pino looks up at him. What is the matter, Master? Oh, I don't know. It's just the ether. It feels familiar somehow. Homer responds, I do sense faint traces of an unidentifiable ether, but... and Rebecca asks, it's familiar? I know why, and this is, Wise. Because you were born here, in the latrine. What happens if you take a dump underwater? Well, there is buoyancy, so... knock off the potty humor, okay? Yeah, I'm not quite following, what the first statement does with the... I don't know, it's a joke that doesn't really land at all. It's just kind of weird. Anyway, hey, wait. And then they finally all notice, what I pointed out 2 pages ago, we're not underwater. And then Pino points out to the entrance. Over there, look at the entrance. And we see the water stops at a vertical, there's a wall. One side is air, one side is water. Happy kind of like passes between it. The door is a border between us and the water. How strange. And then someone enters. This temple is protected by a special barrier. Be that as it may, it's been years since I've had visitors. And she has some kind of tentacle thing, so I'm very, very worried already. Welcome to the Temple of the Mother Beacon. I am its guardian, Nadia. And Rebecca flashes back to what she saw. Nadia, the love of my life. And that's where we end this week. So yeah, this was wasn't really a big plot-heavy chapter. It's a little similar to last chapter in that there's some steps towards big plot motions, but it's mostly something kind of unrelated. That chapter had the R&R time. This chapter has the octopus monster. Then that chapter had the falling escape pod and the skeleton and the underwater city. And then this chapter had entering the temple and meeting Nadia, which are all very important things for the arc for this arc. I'm guessing, again, this arc is so early on that we don't really know what it looks like yet. But like they're similar in that not too much happens from a big plot way. Though I am very impressed with this chapter, as once, the Eden Zero gang fights an octopus monster in their swimsuits, seems rife for heavy tentacle fan service, and we get none of that. And I'm always happy to not have tentacle fan service. But yeah, the chapter is also, like, I love Shiki is too dumb to work out gravity and buoyancy and how they should mix, and so he just leaves the water and slams back down. It's just so funny to me. It's just a really great, like, he's not smart, but he's not so stupid that he can't figure out a solution anyway. And I respect that. And then we meet Nadia. And I don't really have anything to say about her yet, just because I have no idea how. Maybe, like, I guess it's possible that perhaps the skeleton was someone who left Red Cave. Maybe Red Cave was originally like a fire planet, like it's supposed to be, and then became a water planet at some point by all of the flooding, and most people died. The temple is somehow protected. This guy escaped and then died and came back, maybe? I'm not sure. There's a lot of things that could be or might not be. But yeah, there's a lot to chew on going forward. I'm not sure what this arc is going to be about. We're still very much in the early stages of this arc, so yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to talk about, so I enjoyed the chapter. It was really good. It's a really fun chapter. Not heavy plot, but some great Shiki moments, some great gags. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for this chapter. Hope y'all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or do whatever makes you happy. And remember, your life is your own. Okay, bye.